physical aliens coming here in spaceships,
Yes.
or flying saucers from other planets.
Aliens, are they real or not? While some people take this kind of subject as trivia, there have been serious warnings about aliens by Graham Hancock. Who is Graham Hancock, and why is his terrifying revelations about aliens seriously concern you? Keep watching as we bring you all the details.
We have that phenomenology in encounters with fairies and elves in the Middle Ages, and we have the identical phenomenology in encounters with aliens today. And I think it's obvious. We're looking at the same experience through time, construed through different cultural lenses.
Graham Hancock is a British writer and journalist who has been fascinated by the mysteries of the ancient world since he was a child. He has traveled to more than 50 countries and visited hundreds of archaeological sites, monuments, and sacred places. He has written more than 20 books and produced more than 10 documentaries that challenge the conventional views of history, archaeology, and ancient civilizations. He has also explored the mysteries of the human mind, consciousness, and the paranormal with his visionary insights and experiences. Hancock is best known for his books Fingerprints of the Gods, Magicians of the Gods, and America Before, where he presents his theory that a highly advanced civilization existed on Earth before the end of the last ice age, and that it was destroyed by a cataclysmic event that wiped out most of its traces. Hancock is also known for his books Supernatural and Entangled, where he explores the role of altered states of consciousness in human evolution and culture. He suggests that humans have been in contact with other realms and entities through various methods such as shamanism, psychedelics, meditation, near-death experiences, and dreams. He proposes that these realms and entities are not mere hallucinations or illusions, but rather realities that exist beyond our normal perception. He also proposes that some of these entities may be extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings who have interacted with humans throughout history. Hancock is one of the most influential and controversial thinkers of our time. He has a large and loyal fan base who admire his courage and curiosity in challenging the mainstream views and seeking alternative explanations. Hancock is not only a writer and a researcher, but also an adventurer and an explorer. He has participated in many expeditions and investigations around the world, such as diving in the waters of Japan to see the underwater structures of Yonaguni, flying over the Nazca lines in Peru to decipher their meaning, exploring the pyramids and temples of Egypt to uncover their secrets, visiting the megalithic sites of Turkey to witness their wonders, traveling to Indonesia to discover the lost civilization of Gunung Padang, and many others. Hancock is also a speaker and a teacher who shares his knowledge and passion with his audience. He has given many lectures and workshops on his topics of interest around the world, such as at TEDx conferences, Contact in the Desert events, Origins conferences, Megalithomania festivals, Gaia symposiums, and many others. He has also appeared on many podcasts and radio shows such as The Joe Rogan Experience, Coast to Coast AM, London Real, The Higher Side Chats, Fade to Black, The Unexplained with Howard Hughes, and many others. Hancock has touched on the subject of aliens multiple times, and the things he reveals about them are shocking to many people. For example, Hancock believes that there was a highly advanced civilization that existed before the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, and that it was destroyed by a cataclysmic comet impact that triggered massive floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. He calls this civilization Atlantis, after the legendary lost continent that Plato described in his dialogues. He claims that Atlantis was a technologically advanced civilization that had contact with extraterrestrials, and that its destruction was part of a cosmic war between good and evil forces. He also speculates that some of the Atlanteans survived the cataclysm and migrated to other parts of the world, spreading their knowledge and culture. But what do we know about Atlantis? Atlantis is actually one of the most fascinating and mysterious topics in history, and here is Hancock tying the city to aliens. It is a legendary city that was said to be the home of a highly advanced civilization that existed thousands of years ago. According to the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who is the main source of information about Atlantis, the city was founded by the god Poseidon, who fell in love with a mortal woman named Cleito. He gave her a hill in the middle of the ocean and surrounded it with rings of water and land. He also gave her 10 sons, who became the kings of Atlantis and ruled over a vast empire that stretched from Africa to Europe. Plato described Atlantis as a utopia where the people lived in harmony with nature and each other. They had a rich culture, a powerful military, and sophisticated technology that surpassed anything known in the ancient world. They built magnificent temples, palaces, gardens, bridges, canals, and statues. They had access to abundant resources, such as gold, silver, copper, tin, ivory, and exotic animals. They also had a special metal called orichalcum, which was only found in Atlantis and glowed like fire. However, Plato also warned that Atlantis was doomed by its own hubris. He said that the Atlanteans became corrupted by their wealth and power and forgot their divine origins. They started to wage wars against their neighbors and tried to conquer the whole world. They also offended the gods with their impiety and injustice. As a result, the gods decided to punish them by sending a great cataclysm that destroyed Atlantis in a single day and night. Plato said that this happened around 9,000 years before his time, which would be around 11,000 BC. He also said that the location of Atlantis was in the Atlantic Ocean, beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Ever since Plato wrote about Atlantis, people have been fascinated by its story and have tried to find evidence of its existence and location. Some have suggested that Atlantis was based on a real historical event, such as the eruption of Thera or Santorini in the Aegean Sea, or the end of the last ice age that caused global flooding. Others have proposed that Atlantis was located in different places around the world, such as Antarctica, Bermuda, Bolivia, Morocco, Spain, Turkey, etc. Some have even claimed that Atlantis was not a physical city at all, but a spiritual or metaphysical realm that can only be accessed by higher consciousness. One of the main sources of Hancock's theory is his interpretation of ancient myths and legends from various cultures around the world. He believes that these stories are not mere fantasies or allegories, but rather encoded memories of real events and encounters with extraterrestrial beings. He argues that these beings came to Earth in different epochs of history and influenced the development of human civilization in various ways. Some of them were benevolent and taught us valuable knowledge and skills, while others were malevolent and enslaved us or waged wars against us. He also suggests that some of these beings may have interbred with humans, creating hybrid races or bloodlines that have special abilities or roles in human history. One of the most famous examples of such myths is the legend of Atlantis, which we talked about earlier. Hancock believes it was a real civilization that existed in the remote past before a cataclysmic flood wiped it out. He claims that Atlantis was founded by an advanced race of aliens who came to Earth from a star system called Sirius and who imparted their wisdom and technology to the Atlanteans. He also claims that some of these aliens survived the flood and escaped to other parts of the world, where they continued to influence human history as gods, kings, heroes, or sages. He cites evidence from ancient texts, monuments, artifacts, and traditions that support his hypothesis. For instance, he points out that many ancient cultures have legends of a great flood that destroyed an ancient civilization, and that some of them mention a connection to Sirius or its companion star. He also notes that many ancient sites around the world have astronomical alignments or measurements that relate to Sirius or its cycle. He argues that these are clues that point to a common origin and influence from the Sirius aliens. He also suggests that some of these sites may have been used as portals or communication devices by the aliens, who may still be using them today. Another example of such myths is the legend of Quetzalcoatl, which Hancock believes was a real person who was an alien or a hybrid. He claims that Quetzalcoatl was one of the survivors of Atlantis who traveled to Central America and founded a new civilization there. He says that Quetzalcoatl was a benevolent teacher who brought knowledge and culture to the native people and who prophesied his own return in a future age. He also says that Quetzalcoatl was associated with Venus, which he believes was a spaceship or a base used by the aliens. Hancock argues that Quetzalcoatl's legend is not unique, but rather part of a global pattern of similar figures who appeared in different times and places around the world. He calls them the Shining Ones and says that they were either aliens or hybrids who came to Earth to guide humanity or to fulfill a certain mission. He cites examples such as Osiris in Egypt, Viracocha in Peru, Buddha in India, Jesus in Israel, Muhammad in Arabia, King Arthur in Britain, and many others. He says that these figures share common characteristics, such as being born under special circumstances, performing miracles or wonders, teaching ethical or spiritual principles, being persecuted or killed by their enemies, and promising to return at the end of time. Hancock believes that these Shining Ones are not only historical figures, but also representatives of a higher intelligence or consciousness that transcends space and time. He says that they are part of a cosmic plan or design for humanity's evolution and destiny. He says that they are here to help us awaken to our true potential and purpose as spiritual beings in a material world. He also says that they are here to warn us about the dangers and challenges we face as a species, especially from our own ignorance and arrogance. One of these dangers is the possibility of another cataclysmic event that could wipe out human civilization as we know it. Hancock says that this event could be caused by natural forces such as an asteroid impact, a volcanic eruption, a solar flare, or a pole shift, or by human forces such as nuclear war, environmental degradation, genetic engineering, or artificial intelligence. He says that this event could happen soon within our lifetime or our children's lifetime. He says that this event is not inevitable, but rather dependent on our choices and actions as individuals and as a collective. Hancock says that we are not alone in facing this danger. Perhaps more shocking is that he says that some of the aliens who visited Earth in the past are still here today, but they are hiding from us or observing us from a distance. He says that they are waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves or intervene in human affairs. He says that they are not here to save us or to destroy us, but rather to assist us or challenge us. He says that they are here to test us and to teach us, to judge us, and to guide us. According to Hancock, we have the power and the responsibility to decide our own fate. He says that we have the potential and the opportunity to create a new and better world or to destroy the one we have. He says that we have the freedom and the duty to choose between love and fear, wisdom and ignorance, between cooperation and conflict, between harmony and chaos. He says that we have the chance and the challenge to become the magicians of our own gods or the slaves of our own demons. Hancock also claims that these aliens are not omnipotent or omniscient, but rather limited and fallible. He says that they have their own weaknesses and flaws, their own conflicts and challenges, and their own interests and agendas. He says that they are not gods or angels, but rather beings like us, only more advanced or different. He says that they are not here to save us or to destroy us, but rather to assist us or challenge us. Hancock believes that these aliens are still here today, but that they choose not to interact with us openly or directly. He says that they have several reasons for doing so, such as they respect our free will and sovereignty as a species. They do not want to interfere with our natural evolution or development. They want us to learn from our own mistakes and successes. They are bound by certain laws or rules that prevent them from revealing themselves or intervening in human affairs. These laws or rules may be imposed by themselves or by other higher authorities or forces. They are afraid of us or of the consequences of interacting with us. They fear that we may harm them or ourselves with our violence or ignorance. They fear that we may misuse or abuse their gifts or teachings. They are indifferent to us or bored with us. They have no interest or curiosity in us or our affairs. They have other priorities or goals that occupy their attention. They are waiting for the right time or condition to interact with us. They are waiting for us to reach a certain level of maturity or readiness. They are waiting for a certain event or sign to occur. Hancock says that these reasons are not mutually exclusive, but rather complementary. He says that different aliens may have different reasons for choosing not to interact with us, depending on their nature and purpose. He also says that these reasons may change over time as the situation changes. Hancock says that we should not be discouraged or disappointed by the lack of alien interaction. He says that we should not rely on them or depend on them for our salvation or destruction. He says that we should not worship them or fear them as gods or demons. He says that we should not expect them or demand them to show up or help out. Hancock says that we should instead focus on ourselves and our own potential as human beings. He says that we have the power and the responsibility to shape our own destiny as a species. He says that we have the potential and the opportunity to create a new and better world for ourselves and others. He says that we have the freedom and the duty to choose between love and fear, wisdom and ignorance, between cooperation and conflict, between harmony and chaos. Interestingly, Hancock is not the only prominent person that believes aliens are on Earth, but avoiding us. For example, Tom DeLonge, the former lead singer of the rock band Blink-182, who is also the founder of To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a company that researches UFOs and extraterrestrial phenomena. He claims to have insider information from government sources that confirm the existence and presence of aliens on Earth. He also says that some of these aliens are hostile and pose a threat to humanity. Another popular personality is Nick Pope, a former employee of the British Ministry of Defence, who was in charge of investigating UFO sightings and reports from 1991 to 1994. He says that he has seen evidence that some UFOs are extraterrestrial craft and that some aliens may have infiltrated human society. He also says that there is a secret war going on between different factions of aliens and humans. There is also Paul Hellyer, a former Canadian Minister of Defence, who publicly announced in 2005 that he believes in aliens and UFOs. He says that he has been in contact with several whistleblowers who have confirmed that there are at least 4 different species of aliens visiting Earth, and that some of them have been working with human governments for decades. He also says that some of these aliens have a hidden agenda to control or manipulate humanity. And of course, everybody knows Demi Lovato, the pop star and actress. She has long believed in aliens and even claimed to have seen a UFO herself. She was also way ahead of the curve in asking us to stop using the word alien when referring to extraterrestrials. She says that she has been in contact with an organization called CE5, which stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is a protocol for initiating peaceful contact with aliens. She also says that she has witnessed amazing things while meditating with CE5 members. Hancock also asserts that many ancient monuments and structures around the world are evidence of alien influence. This theory suggests that some of the most impressive and mysterious constructions in human history, such as the pyramids of Egypt and Mexico, the megalithic temples of Malta and Turkey, the stone circles of Stonehenge and Avebury, the statues of Easter Island and Indonesia, and the Nazca lines of Peru, are not the products of human ingenuity and labor, but rather the results of alien intervention and technology. The theory argues that many ancient monuments and structures are aligned with astronomical phenomena, such as solstices, equinoxes, eclipses, and constellations, and that they encode sophisticated mathematical and geometrical knowledge that is beyond the capabilities of primitive cultures. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt is aligned with the cardinal directions and the Orion's Belt constellation, and its dimensions reflect the ratio of pi and the golden ratio. The Teotihuacan complex in Mexico is aligned with the sun's movements and the Pleiades constellation, and its layout reflects a complex calendar system. The Stonehenge Circle in England is aligned with the summer and winter solstices, and its stones are arranged in precise geometric patterns. The theory suggests that these alignments and encodings are not coincidental or accidental, but rather intentional and meaningful, and that they reveal a hidden message or purpose from an advanced intelligence that guided or influenced their construction. The theory also argues that many ancient monuments and structures are remnants of ancient technology or portals to other dimensions where aliens reside. For example, the pyramids of Egypt and Mexico are said to be giant power plants or energy generators that harness the Earth's magnetic field or cosmic rays. The megalithic temples of Malta and Turkey are said to be acoustic chambers or resonance devices that produce sound frequencies or vibrations that affect human consciousness or health. The stone circles of Stonehenge and Avebury are said to be astronomical observatories or navigation devices that track celestial movements or star positions. The statues of Easter Island and Indonesia are said to be antennas or transmitters that communicate with extraterrestrial beings or spacecraft. The Nazca lines of Peru are said to be runways or landing strips for alien ships or aircraft. The theory further argues that many ancient monuments and structures are evidence of a global civilization that existed before the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, and that it was destroyed by a cataclysmic comet impact that triggered massive floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Hancock further contends that many ancient artworks and symbols around the world are representations of alien beings or vehicles. He shows examples such as cave paintings from France and South Africa, rock carvings from Australia and India, pottery from Ecuador and Bolivia, masks from Mexico and Nigeria, figurines from Colombia and Iraq, jewelry from Egypt and Peru, coins from Greece and Rome, manuscripts from China and Ethiopia, paintings from Italy and Russia, sculptures from Cambodia and Japan, etc. He says that these artworks depict flying saucers, rockets, helicopters, jets, submarines, robots, astronauts, etc., as well as humanoid or hybrid creatures with animal features or helmets. He says that these artworks are proof that ancient people witnessed or interacted with aliens or their machines. Hancock is not the only researcher that connects aliens to ancient artwork and symbols. Some researchers and enthusiasts have suggested that these artworks are proof that ancient people witnessed or interacted with extraterrestrials or their machines, and that they recorded their experiences in various forms of expression. Areas where scientists have discovered alien depictions in ancient art include 1. Cave paintings. Some of the oldest and most primitive forms of art are cave paintings that date back tens of thousands of years ago. These paintings often depict animals, humans, and geometric shapes, but some also show mysterious figures that resemble aliens or astronauts. For instance, in the Sago Canyon in Utah, USA, there are paintings of humanoid beings with large eyes, elongated heads, and antennae. In the Tasselin Ager in Algeria, there are paintings of beings with round helmets, suits, and gloves. In the Kimberley region in Australia, there are paintings of beings with large heads, slit eyes, and no mouths. 2. Rock carvings. Another form of ancient art is rock carving or petroglyph, which is an image created by removing part of a rock surface by incising, pecking, carving, or abrading. Some of these carvings depict strange creatures or objects that resemble aliens or UFOs. For example, in the Val Camonica in Italy, there are carvings of beings with helmets, antennas, and ray guns. In the Chhattisgarh state of India, there are carvings of flying discs and humanoid figures. In the Toro Muerto in Peru, there are carvings of beings with oval heads, large eyes, and antennas. 3. Pottery. Pottery is one of the most common and durable forms of ancient art, and it often reflects the culture and beliefs of the people who made it. Some pottery pieces have been found that depict unusual scenes or characters that suggest alien influence or contact. For instance, in the Manabi province in Ecuador, there are pottery vessels that show figures with helmets, goggles, and tubes. In the Tiwanaku culture in Bolivia, there are pottery vessels that show figures with elongated skulls, large eyes, and ear ornaments. In the Nazca culture in Peru, there are pottery vessels that show figures with animal features such as feline heads, bird wings, or serpent tails. 4. Ancient masks. Masks are another form of ancient art that often have religious or ceremonial significance. They are usually worn to represent or invoke a deity, spirit, or ancestor. Some masks have been discovered that have features or designs that resemble aliens or their technology. For example, in the Teotihuacan culture in Mexico, there are masks made of jade or obsidian that have slit eyes, square mouths, and geometric patterns. In the Igbo Ukwu culture in Nigeria, there are masks made of bronze that have round eyes, pointed noses, and elaborate headdresses. In the Sangxingdui culture in China, there are masks made of bronze that have large ears, protruding eyes, and ornamental horns. And 5. Figurines. Figurines are small statues or models that often represent humans, animals, or mythical beings. They can be made of various materials, such as clay, stone, metal, wood, or bone. Some figurines have been found that portray creatures or objects that look like aliens or their vehicles. For example, in the Nok culture in Nigeria, there are figurines made of terracotta that show humanoids with cone-shaped heads, large eyes, and elaborate hairstyles. In the Ubaid culture in Iraq, there are figurines made of clay that show humanoids with lizard-like heads, slanted eyes, and scaly skin. In the Quimbaya culture in Colombia, there are figurines made of gold that show objects with wings, tails, and propellers.